Okay, so today I want to do some basic maintenance on my Wolverine MTW. Since it's an HBA platform, it doesn't really need all that much maintenance. The key thing to do is just clean out the barrel assembly. Today I will show you how to do this with just some very basic tools that you probably already have around the house. First things first, we need to open up the MTW. Simply push out the rear body pin. Next, just to make it easy, push out the front body pin as well. Come on. There we go. Now, you will be left with just the simple upper. Now, you can take this apart very easily. There's very few parts you need to undo to get this done. So, I'll be showing you that now. Okay, for taking it further apart, all I like to use is just a simple pick. A simple screwdriver will do as well. So let's get started. First things first, we need to take off this little contact yoke. Simply undo it. Be careful, there's a wire in the back that connects to the solenoid. Just simply pull that out and route it past the airline. Put it aside and don't lose it. Now, just to get the airline, push it past the body pin. This is a bit harder for me because I have a filtered grip line. I've seen some cases where people can't even get the filtered grip line past this little body pin without taking it apart. I don't know if it is because they have a different model. I will need to look into that. Anyway, next thing, you have the hose past the body pin. Simply take out the little clip that holds the engine. Preferably don't drop it on the floor like I just did. Pull the charging handle and the engine will just simply come out. Once you have the engine out, it is very simple to simply take out the Hopup unit. This is a two-part design. We can leave the feeding tube in. You don't need to take that out. Simply pull out the Hopup unit and you can remove it from the backside of the upper. This may be a little bit stiff for you. Mine isn't. So if you have some issues, you can gently try and push it out with a little help from a screwdriver or a pick. Just be careful with it. Now, don't be shocked, this is not the stock barrel that originally comes with the MTW. The entire reason I changed it out is because I changed to a shorter upper and I couldn't get the right barrel size. So I went for a lambda barrel and so far it's been treating me well. Now, don't lose this little spring. We're gonna disassemble the Hopup unit to clean out the barrel. First things first, you need to remove the little wheel. This simply pops off. Next thing to do, the Hopup arm has a little nub on it. Carefully undo the Hopup arm because the nub tends to fall out sometimes. Carefully remove the little nub and now you're ready to take out the rest of the barrel from the Hopup unit. This is done by removing the little clip here. Don't know how well you're gonna be able to see this. Hope it will. Come on, focus. Yeah, there's a little clip here. What I like to do is simply twist the barrel just a little bit. It removes the pressure from the little clip on the grooves of the barrel, so it's easier to take it out. Simply pull the barrel from the Hopup unit. I like to twist it just a little bit, and there you go. Next thing, we need to remove the bucking. Simply slide that off and you should be good to go. Next thing we want to look into is the bucking. This just came off of my barrel. It's a fairly fresh install, so I don't expect too much damage or wear on it. As you can see, the bucking lips, these are the bucking lips, don't look like there's bites out of them. And when I look into it, this is probably pretty hard for you guys to see. You can see just a little bit of white residue. Don't worry about this. This is something you can easily wipe out with like a cotton tip or a little cloth. So don't worry about this. This is completely normal. Next thing, we have the barrel. It's very important to have a clean barrel. The reason you want it to be clean is so that the barrel has as little resistance as possible when you shoot the BB. It helps it to stay accurate and get the performance that you are used to from your MTW. The next step here is going to be to clean out the inner barrel. For this we simply use some cleaning alcohol, nothing fancy. This is something you might already have in house, otherwise it's going to be very cheap and you can get it pretty much everywhere these days. For actually cleaning the barrel, I like to do the following. I have some pieces of cotton cleaning cloth, sorry. I have two sizes in this, a bigger size and a smaller. The smaller one is just a big one cut in half. The reason I do this is you have on the first pass there might be some sand, dirt, whatever in your barrel. So to prevent deep scratches, what I like to do is just not apply too much pressure on the first go. That's why I like to use the thin cloth for the first pass and the thicker cloth for the rest of the passes. Simply get your piece of cloth, put it through a cleaning rod. Most AEGs, I don't remember if my MTW came with one, but anyway, most AEGs will just simply come with a cleaning rod. If they didn't, you can try your local shop. They probably have some laying around as well. Get your cleaning rod and your piece of cloth. Simply dip it into the alcohol. Make sure you get rid of as much excess alcohol as possible, because you don't want it dripping all over your nice and fancy background. Now for this step, it's very important that you do not twist the cleaning rod. You want to have straight passes. It's not like a real rifle. There's no rifling inside, and we want to keep it undamaged. So just straight passes. Now as you can see, this is fairly clean. I like to clean my barrels fairly often, preferably after every single game. But let's see what it does with a bit thicker cloth. That usually removes quite a bit more gunk from the barrel. Come on there. Always a bit of a hustle getting the thicker ones through. Anyway, thicker cloth, some alcohol. And what I like to do with the thicker cloth, I really like to put some pressure on it and do a few passes. Remember, only straight passes. As you can see, there was still just a little bit of dirt inside of my barrel. Come on, focus. Basically, you're gonna keep on going through your inner barrel with these cloths until it is perfectly clean and you have no more residue on it. This is pretty much it for cleaning the barrel. You don't need to clean the engine out very often. Basically, what I recommend is to do this once, maybe twice a year. Everything more than that is just overkill, or unless there's an issue with the engine. So once it works, just let it be and have it have as little maintenance as it actually needs. So pretty much golden there. So one last little thing for the barrel cleaning that I also like to do. I like to take this Q-tip just to clean out the MTW feeding tube. In my case, I see quite a bit of dirt landing in there, so let's just try and prevent as many BBs from getting dirty inside of the Hopup chamber as possible. You can see that's a bit dirty, but nothing too crazy. If you maintain this a bit more regular, you should be fine. You don't need to do this every single game. Definitely not. Just do it every once in a few games. Take your time with it. It's not that long to do. Once you get used to it, you will have this done within 5 minutes. It's that easy on this gun to disassemble, reassemble. You should be good. Once you start with reassembling your Hopup assembly, make sure your bucking is seated correctly. This will pretty much speak for itself, as it's pretty self-explanatory. Before you put the barrel and the bucking into the Hopup unit, be sure to put a little bit of grease on the outside of the bucking. Be careful here that you don't get any of the grease into the bucking or onto the bucking lips, as this might affect your accuracy over time. So for this, I like to use some simple silicone compound. It's nice and sticky, it spreads easy, and on top of that, it prevents the bucking from drying out. Just a little bit. No need to completely rub this in, because we did this only on the front part of the bucking, it will just smear itself out on the inside of the Hopup unit. Sorry guys, that was out of shot a bit. Make sure that little groove in the barrel aligns with the little seam on the Hopup unit. Reinstall your barrel clip. Now what I also like to do is put a little bit of this silicone compound into the little nub holder, simply so it doesn't fall out during the install and you lose your nub, especially when you're in the middle of a field. Cleaning out your Hopup unit for whatever reason, maybe a broken bucking, it happens. You open it up, bucking falls to the ground, nub falls to the ground, you have a bad day. So be careful with that. That's why I always like to use a bit of silicone compound to keep the nub in place. Reinstall the nub. Don't worry about any excess compound getting away from the Hopup arm there. Reinstall the Hopup wheel. I like to put it in the 0 setting. And that's pretty much it. All you need to do is reassemble it back into the gun. The only thing that I want to note really quick, when you put in the contact yoke back into the back of the solenoid, be careful with the little connector. I like to use a pair of pliers to just push it in. Sometimes when the cable is at the right angle you can just use your fingers, but this is not always the case, so keep that in mind, be careful with it to not damage it. That's it guys, have a good one.